All right, it's your boy Kush Council, and today I'm going to be starting something new. It's called Kush Talk, and it's just me, doing all the talking this week. So this is going to be kind of my own thing. I do the pod with Life for Lou. I help out Tone with the American Way. Somewhat of a reoccurring guest and just, helping out. So, I'm definitely not just a one-trick pony. Something I wanted to, venture off and do is Kush Talks, where it's just me, talking about the things that I see in the news, things I like, whether it's sports, whether it's current events, certain specifics. Sometimes, things I'm thinking of, they don't always fit with the pull-up pod's schedule that day. Or, something that me and Lou are talking about, it might be more relevant to him, or it might make sense for him to know about it. But maybe some things I bring up on here, like football, or like just certain specifics, that might not make any sense to just talk about on the pull-up. So, I'm gonna bring it to Kush Talks, and this will be a more intimate vibe, just me. I definitely want to bring some people on and really turn this into like an interview thing, where I'm talking to different entertainers, entrepreneurs, so on and so forth. Just somebody that has a good story, and that we can learn from, and we can appreciate, their story in life. Go through their chapters, really, indulge and, soak in some of the great memories that people just go through in life, ups or downs. I think it's all worth documenting, because unfortunately we don't get to live forever. So maybe this is a way to leave a legacy and family in the future to kind of reminisce on us and really respect our generation. So that's part of Kush Talks. I call myself Kush Council. My name's Greg. Some people call me Biddle. It's my last name. Most people, they just call me Greg. But the real ones that know, the ones that have been there from the get-go, they call me by my last name. But yeah, man, from Tampa, Florida. Born and raised here. Single mother family. Just growing up, trying to figure it out, trying to learn. No father figure. So really just teaching myself how to be a man, making tons of mistakes along the way, and just really learning from those mistakes. There were times where I didn't learn from my mistakes, and I had to get patted on the ass even harder. And, I think there's just situations in my life where it's like, could have did better, could have did worse. And it's, something to think about, but not really to dwell on. We all go through what we go through, whatever we go through, because of the situations we put ourselves in, and the, events that led up to that. So, yeah, of course we want to have, a perfect story, but, it don't work like that. It's not like that for everybody. Some people got a better story than others. Some people have a more interesting story than others. Some people have a more thrilling story. Some people have, it doesn't always have to be better. There's always a level, there's always a different, angle to look at something and appreciate it. And it doesn't always have to be the flashiest, shiniest shit. It could just be the angle, or the events that led up to such thing. I think it's just, there's a lot of reasons to appreciate something. So try not to get in the way, and don't let yourself not appreciate something that's there for the taking. there to be, learned from. And, I hope the people that really tap in and listen to this understand, like, I want to put myself out there and I want to make connections. You know, it's cool to know the people around the block, but I want to know the people around the world. And I want people to recognize me around the world. It'd be dope. And I think there's a lot I can do with that. There's a lot of people I can talk to, a lot of people I could really tap in with and just kind of spread the good positivity, the perseverance, to let people know, like, just because you think it's the end of the road, or just because you think it can't get any worse or it can't get any better, like, there's different levels to everything, and it's never going to be stagnant. It's going to be moving one way or another. Unfortunately, you can go stagnant, and that's definitely a possibility of, staleness, but for the most part, that ticker's going up or down. So I think that's just something that, over time with Kush Talks, I think that's something I'm really going to be tapped in with. And, I look forward to telling these stories and talking to different people and, expounding on my own stories and things like that. So, yeah. Yeah, dude. I mean, where should I start? I gave you guys a little bit of, synopsis on who I am and what I'm about and why I have this channel, right? So let's really kick this thing off. Today is December. Is it Friday the 13th? Nah. Today is, I think today's December 9th. I think December 9th or 10th. Brittany Griner is coming home to America, coming back from Russian prison, Russian sentencing. She was sentenced to 9.5 years in prison for a marijuana pen. I think one thing with the whole situation is people have been very opinionated. People have not been shy to really shit on her, shun her. I think my whole outlook has been, well, you shouldn't be playing in other people's country. You shouldn't be pressing that line. Like, I grew up pressing the line. I grew up walking a fine line, pressing the edge, walking over it, doing what the fuck I want to do. Not really thinking about the consequences. But I didn't have nothing to lose. You know what I'm saying? I was going all out because I personally felt like I had nothing to lose, right? Because I didn't have anything to show for it at those times. I didn't have a car, I didn't have a job, I didn't have nothing. So I'm like, only up from here, I'm going to do what I can. Somebody like her, prominent position, I'm sure she's not rich, but she's a notable person, and she can get money, how she needs to. But, I think, just the people that are happy to see somebody in prison for weed alone, you're a sick fucking individual. Yeah, I do agree. Hey, there's laws, we gotta follow them. Tough to feel sorry for you. But at the same time, it's just weed. And the people that want to bury people over weed shows the disconnect or shows the true hate that you have deep down inside, and you're looking for a reason to really expound upon that hate. Oh, I got a reason that's not going to make me look crazy. This person's doing this, so I could really jump on their back, say what I need to, and I won't get any flack for it because they made a stupid decision, and I could really bury them for it because everybody else is doing it. So let me jump on the train. And that's why I think shit is disgusting. Do we agree with the decision, whether it's her bringing the shit over there or the U.S. military, I mean, the U.S. government trading an old arms dealer back to Russia for our, you know, I don't know what to call her, but I don't have the phrase, but, you know, our citizen, right? You know, I think that's the thing with America is like, you know, they're like, why didn't they get the Marine? Because there's an old Marine there. And I just feel like, yeah, Biden is doing this to get votes, and it's just a sick individual that's in office, because I don't even know if that person's alive, and it's jokes and it's everybody feels the same, and I don't know how we all feel the same about one person as the president and nobody's doing anything about it to get him out. I mean, we all felt a certain way about Trump, whether we liked him or hated him. But he made things happen, and he did a lot of things, good and bad, and that could be argued for centuries upon centuries. But the thing is, this president is crazy. He's made us look weak as a country, and he's done a lot of things that are basically putting our principles, you know, and at risk. Like things we stand for, you know, how we move as a country. He's really making us look bad. But, you know, put all that aside, Brittany Griner, you know, she's coming back, and, you know, people are disgusted with it. And it's, you know, part of it's because they see that Marine that's over there. Well, this is my outlook, and I don't know the whole, somebody could correct me if they want. It'd be helpful if it's needed. You know, if it's true, if it's not, you know, opinion, and I'm down to hear an opinion as well, but if it's real correcting, help me out. That Marine, our military was purposely doing things, you know, he was a spy, he got caught spying. So it's like, they're not going to give us our spy back. Also, when we have Brittany Griner over there for something that has nothing to do with the military, yeah, they should get her back. You know, it's like she's a citizen. She's a regular person. She didn't commit herself to fucking want to go against the Russian country. She probably was like, you know, hey, I'm a basketball player. I may be a star there. I could get away with this. Maybe they've been getting away with it. Who knows? And because the time that she got popped is the same time that the Ukraine war started. So maybe this was a pawn for Russia, and they plotted this whole thing out. And we'll eventually know the true story because she's coming back over here. And, you know, we'll get all the upcoming interviews and things like that. I don't think the WNBA season is until the springtime or something like that. So, you know, we'll get to see her talk. We'll get her story. And a lot of it's going to be dramatic, and it's going to be way too much. But remember, read in between the lines. Take everything with a grain of salt. You don't got to go super emotional. Really understand the consistencies of her story. That's what, you know, that's what I do. That's how I find out, you know, if somebody's lying, telling the truth, things like that. Is consistencies, details, situations, you know, questions, you know, how these people act, and, you know, how they answer things. All depends on if what they're saying is true, or if they're making it up on the spot, or if it's a fabricated lie. You know, there's tons of psychology to really take into consideration. So I look forward to that. I mean, am I happy she's back? I'm indifferent about it. I mean, I don't want to say that. I mean, I'm definitely glad she's back. I don't want nobody in prison for weed. You know what I mean? Like, that's cold. You shouldn't be in prison for weed. You shouldn't be in prison for things where you're not hurting others. That's a fact. You know, I think this could lead into another topic, is the prison system and the justice system. You know, it's more, I mean, this is something we all know, but I'm just going to speak on it from my angle. I've been through it. Shit, since I was 16, you know, I've always been getting in trouble. Uh, you know, just doing what the fuck I want to do, stealing shit, selling shit, just breaking rules, breaking laws, going into people's shit, just doing what I want. You know, not really worrying about if there's a fucking, you know, a law that says, hey, you can get 10 to 20 years. There's things that I've probably done that could get me life. There's things that I've done that could get me 20 years. There's things that I've done that can give me 10 years, 5 years, 6 months. You know what I'm saying? It all is, you know, past occurrences and maybe, you know, allegedly occurrences, allegedly, you know, how we like to call it. But what I'm saying is, you know, the prison system and the justice system is flawed tremendously, because so many times you're in there with somebody who didn't hurt nobody, made a mistake, and, you know, their life comes to a sudden halt because the justice system says, hey, you got to stay with us. You're guilty until proven innocent. But they tell you all the time you're innocent until proven guilty. How am I innocent until proven guilty when I'm locked up? When I can't make or do things on my own time? Like, so it's like, what's the whole point of this? You serve before and after, and you never get rid of it. It's like when you do your crime, you do your time, but you still pay for your time for the rest of your life. It's cold. I mean, or 10 years, whatever. Yeah, they say things falls off your record, and it's true, but people still go back. People still check. They want to know. And it makes sense. Like, you should definitely, you know, people say don't judge, but I'm a big person who believes you should judge. It's smart to judge. It ain't cool to be judgmental, which is thinking you're right about everything, and you hold people to these imaginary things in your mind that you're, you know, holding them up to. You're not the one that makes those decisions. You can think what you want, but you holding those thoughts to reality, and if they're not true, and you got a problem with that being not true because you think in your head it is true, that's fucked up. That's being judgmental. But judging people, you should do it. You should know who you're dealing with. You know what I'm saying? You gotta judge. That's how you know what the fuck's going on. You want to act like, you know, I ain't gonna judge nobody. That's how you get your head knocked off. That's how you get fucked up around this motherfucker. That's how you get robbed, stabbed, kidnapped, all that shit. Not judging. You know what I'm saying? Judging became a stigma because white people were being racist. And people turned the judging thing, I don't want to judge, aka I don't want to be racist. Fuck all that. I'm not racist, and I'm gonna judge the motherfuckers. Period. I know how people are. I know different cultures. I understand how people think. So is it judging or just understanding? I don't know, because I can't just say I see this person in this scenario and expect an outcome. I can judge and say, well, through these certain circumstances, past shows this is a possibility. But that's a different person. Who knows what their story and what's led up to this moment to lead them to do something that's already happened. Maybe they're going to do something that's never been done. You know what I'm saying? So it's a lot of thinking involved. But when you're dealing with humans, you should be very thoughtful. You should be very cognizant of what you're dealing with, because it'll help you get far. And you can always have that mindset of bulldog, bulldozer, I'm going to just plow through everything whether they like it or not. Well, that'll only get you so far, and like it or not, people ain't going to respect that. people ain't gonna like that. Some people might, but at the same time, you're gonna, you know, you're not setting a good tone for just being able to be understood. Like, you're building a wall and telling them to jump over it, and it's a lot to ask for. When they don't know you, or now they got to do this whole wall for they got to jump over a wall for somebody they don't know, just to might find out they don't like you. And what's the point of that? They're not even going to entertain it. It's just common thought. It ain't about you. It's just about how things work. So I go back to the prison thing. Having people locked away for petty things is just, it's fucking foul. You shouldn't cut into people's life because they broke some rules we made up. Now, if you're out there hurting people, I get it. But giving somebody 10 years for a DUI is fucking ridiculous. I mean, you shouldn't promote it. You shouldn't, but at the same time, they didn't kill nobody. They didn't do nothing other than just be drunk. And maybe they could have killed somebody. Shoulda, woulda, coulda. But this is a Minority Report. You can't be handing out crimes that haven't happened yet. And I know you want to do your best to avoid them. But at the same time, life, this universe, we are not in control. We are only here along for the ride. We're just making ourselves comfortable at the end of the day. That's it. We're in a house that isn't ours, and we're just in a corner making ourselves comfortable until we gotta go. And that's, I think, what it's all about, But that's super, super big picture, But like I'm saying, the justice system, when it comes out to finding the truth, that's not really the case. That's not what they're worried about. What they're worried about is what they can prove. They're not worried about the truth. They're worried about what they can prove. And this has been proven time in and time out, where people go to jail for shit they didn't do. Because it's not about the truth, it's about what they can prove. And if they got money invested, they're not going to turn around and be like, you know what? If we can prove this, let's just do it. They're not going to, if we can prove it, well, he didn't do it. Well, yeah, you're right. You know what? Let's just move on. It'd be great if people were like that. It'd be great if the justice system was like that, but it's not. Unfortunately, it is what it is. It's a cold-hearted cycle that takes advantage of their own rules. And we see it all the time. The city of Tampa's police department gets pulled over. I don't know what they were drinking. They had cups with them. Maybe a little mixed beverage. Driving a golf cart on the road. And they get pulled over, and the lady says, hey, I'm the police chief, or I'm the police chief of Tampa Police Department. You mind if you let us go? And the cop did, and they moseyed on, but the cop had his body cam on. So the world got to see the truth behind the justice system. The buddy-buddy system. I take care of you, you take care of me, we scratch each other's back, we get this thing situated, we keep the criminals criminals, and we keep us us. And that's the fucked up part. That Tampa Police Department chief was a criminal at that moment. Should have went to jail, should have got their shit repoed, because that's what they would have did to any other citizen. Not every time, but for the most part, they don't give a fuck. They treat people like shit. And it's a blessing when you run into a cop that's nice and reasonable. You broke the law, you broke the law. Let's be reasonable about it. Let's think about it. All right, does this really need to go through a whole law process? Or can I just call you out on your shit and don't do it again? If I catch you doing it again, you have to pay for it monetarily. I don't know why they don't make people pay monetary. People
would rather pay time than pay money. So this whole thing, like, if you really want people to not do bad, take money from them. Taking their time, they don't give a fuck. Some of them really don't. Like, it hurts, but then they bury that pain, so they don't feel it. So they just go through life and it's not bothering them because it's buried deep. And if you're not smart enough to teach yourself in prison and jail, you're not going to get anywhere. If you're not smart enough to talk to yourself, understand, read, teach, learn, observe, it's not going to go well. You're going to get out. You're going to get right back in there. And I know people don't want to do that. I know people break down when they get in their 50s and they realize they wasted a lot of time in prison for doing stupid shit. And, one way or another, is it somebody capitalizing off of crimes, or should we really be protecting ourselves from crimes? I think it's a little bit of both. And it's a tough board to balance, but I think it needs to be worked on. I think it's really something that, if the meaning for it is what it is, then I really think we need to work on actually doing what that meaning is, which is rehabilitation. So, I'll leave it there when it comes to that. I think I spoke enough about it, but I think it's something that'll be a reoccurring topic for me. It's just jail and prison alone. I've never been to prison, but I've been to jail. I've been probably locked up in jail for a total of about 2 years. The longest stretch I was in jail was about 10 and a half months. And, I learned a lot, but I was very cognizant, very open-minded to learn. And I'm hard-headed in the sense of, like, I'm not scared. I'm gonna put my head down and plow through some shit and try to get somewhere and see where, when I pick my head up, see where I'm at. And, that ain't always the best idea, but that's how I handled it when I was that age. When I was 19, in a county that I didn't grow up in jail around people I didn't grow up around, not knowing a soul in that motherfucker. But I held my own, I did what I had to do. I made it out, and I learned a lot from it. And, good and bad. I always like to think positive about things because it helps your brain think, understand things from a different angle rather than making things negative, which you kind of fall down a different negative path. Once you start thinking everything's against you, your mentality changes. When you look at things as life lessons, your mentality is different. So it's really about how you, take things in, and what you do with them is what you do with them. But it's really important to think about all that stuff, to really think about your actions and the results of, and disregarding the truth is a problem. People don't like the truth. They don't want to hear the truth because they think they're behind the 8 ball. They're too far behind in the race to know the truth, to be able to catch up. And that's never the case. You start the race when you want to, but you need to know how far you are from the start. You'll never know when the finish line is, because that's the Almighty. But at the end of the day, I think we all should put ourselves in the best position to run the race. And that's just something, the only way you can do is to be conscious about it. You got to think about it. You got to prepare for it. People know that the NFL starts in September. They start practicing in April. They start getting right. You know what I'm saying? Work through the hottest part of the year, May, June, July, August, to really get honed in, just to play in the cold, a completely different temperature. It's one of the most grueling, demanding sports for just the damn near all year uh, you know, requirement to keep your skills sharp, but then just the change of, weather, playing in the United States, going from Florida to, the Northeast, to out west, to the Midwest, to down, what I mean? There's just, the body's going to go through a lot, but you got to prepare yourself. And if you prepared, stay ready so you ain't got to get ready. It's important, So I think we'll lead off, not lead off, but we'll lead into some NFL talk. Last night I watched a crazy game, the Rams versus the Raiders. Baker Mayfield came in. I think he's been signed to the Rams for 2 days. He got released from the Carolina Panthers, who the team before that, he was on the Cleveland Browns, who drafted him about 5 years ago. First overall pick in the draft, Baker Mayfield. Didn't work out in Cleveland. I think he was beefing with the head coach. So he wanted basically just a shot to prove to everybody, because his last year in Cleveland, he was hurt. His shoulder was fucked up, but he was still playing through it. But in the NFL, they say bad tape is not better than no tape. Sometimes it's better to just not have any tape than put out bad tape. And he was injured. He's, they're working the shit out of him, having one game, he threw 60 times, and he had a notable injured shoulder. So maybe that's Baker saying, hey, I can handle the load, and just doing too much, not really understanding where he's at. A lot of people shitted on Baker Mayfield when he got cut by the Panthers this week. People said, how can this first rounder get cut by one of the worst teams in the league? And people really tried to bury him for it. And I thought it was, people always show that they're fucking true character. They want to see people bad. People don't like Baker because he's a little cocky. When he does good, he feels good. Can I hate him for that? Because when he does bad, he's pissed off. So I would hate the guy if when he's doing bad, he's still ho-hum, not caring, fuck that, bro. He's pissed off. And when he's doing good, he's fucking juiced up about it. I mean, isn't that all of us for the most part? I don't know why people hate him. I think people want him to do good, and they don't do, and he doesn't play up to their expectations, so they just bury him. It's like, hey, my man don't quit. Through college, he was a walk-on, Texas Tech, where Pat Mahomes was playing, transferred to Oklahoma to, have them as a mainstay in the college football. Oklahoma hasn't been back since Kyler Murray, and before him, Baker Mayfield. They haven't really been on the pedestal that they were. And Baker Mayfield brings that energy. I love him. I like him a lot. Like, he don't play as well as we need to, but he's a baller for sure. He can go out there and get you a win. And last night's what he did. Down 16-3 in the fourth quarter, I think with about 11 minutes left, Baker turned on Baker time. Got a quick touchdown, boom. Closed the gap within 6. It was 10-16, yeah. And then with like a minute and 30 left, he's on his own 2-yard line. So he's got 98 yards to go to score a touchdown. He's on a team that he's been on with for 2 days. Now, I don't know how much you guys understand football that's watching this, but football is one of the most hardest sports to pick up right away. Because what you see on TV isn't even half of what goes into a football game. The plays, when you need to change a play, the audible, the cadence of your snap to say hike, It's not ready, set, hike, because the defense will know that's how you're going to say it, and they're going to get the jump on you. So you got to have the right cadence. You got to also know how to call the plays. You got to also know the terminology that's going to be used, because each team uses different terminology. Now, the play type, the playbook type that Baker Mayfield is going to be using with the Rams is similar to his playbook in Cleveland, which is the team he started with. He was with for 4 years. So the coaches use kind of the same playbook, the West Coast offense. So he's able to understand it pretty quickly. Maybe they can, shape it to his understanding and help out the guys on the team. But think, you're in front of 60,000 people. You're a home game. There's 22 guys on the field, including yourself. And you got to read that team across from you and then relay back to your team that you've only known for 2 days. So you might not even know everybody's name. You definitely don't know their tendencies. You don't know what to expect. Hey, this guy struggles with this type. This guy can't get open on these type of routes. This guy excels in this certain situation. It's crazy. So with a minute and 30 left and 98 yards to go, down 6, I didn't doubt Baker Mayfield for 1 second, honestly. And I tweeted out, Baker, make it happen. And I'll be damned, right after that tweet, Baker threw that touchdown to take the lead with like 4 seconds left. Came in, jumped off the plane. People really, they tried to make fun of him for being cut. And it's like, he asked to get cut. The Rams had big injuries. The 49ers had big injuries to their quarterback. The Ravens, a bunch of teams right now have some injuries to their quarterbacks. And Baker Mayfield, if this team is in a playoff run, they could use him. He could get them a couple wins and keep them in contention while the regular quarterback comes back. Or a team who lost their quarterback for the season, still needs some life, which is the Rams. Boom. That's where Baker came in. So the Rams aren't going to go to the playoffs, but Baker can show that he has dog mentality. He's going to fight. He's not going to give up. And that's the shit I respect. And shout out to Baker. So, he got him a little win Thursday night football. And it was dope, man. I love magical stories like that. I think we all do. Some people just don't like the character it's happened to. And I did. So, we did the intro. Talked about Brittany Griner. Talked about the prison system. The justice system. Kind of led into football. It's going to be... This is my favorite part of the year. We get basketball, football, baseball just finished, NASCAR just finished, but really the weather. I'm in Florida, so, we get to go outside, play ball, basketball or football. It's that type of weather. It ain't fucking snowing, and it might rain a couple times, so, go get your exercise. So, but yeah, I just, I don't want to go too deep into the NFL, but I thought the Baker Mayfield story was, worth bringing up. The perseverance, the calmness, just it feels great to see shit like that. People not give up. That fight, like, that's what I got in me. I got that fight, bro. I'm always gonna go for it. Like, if it makes sense, if I got it mapped out, if it's strategic, if it's just I understand what to do, let's go. Let's do it. If I don't, but I want to, I'm going to look into it. And I think that's just how we got to take it, you know. I don't have the best ideas. You know, my ideas are decent. I'm always looking to learn from the right person, but I know who not to learn from. And that's people who don't listen. That's for damn sure I ain't finna learn nothing from somebody who don't listen. When you talking to motherfucker over talking you, trying to tell you something, they damn sure don't know because they ain't listening they damn self. So how the fuck they gonna learn from somebody else? They all of a sudden decided to listen? Nah. They manufactured, or what am I trying to say? They fabricated their own situation to make it seem like they know what they're talking about. I don't listen to people who don't listen. I can't do it. And the point is, they're talking out their ass. They don't know what the fuck really going on. Because if they listen, they would be fact checking in their brain. They're not worried about it. They just want to spew their fucking, you know, the shit they want to say. And I really don't give a fuck what you got to say, honestly. If you just want to say shit, like, there's no point in talking. At least talking to me. Because there ain't nothing to learn from you. You just want to spew shit. You know, a motherfucker who's real is going to listen. Because they're processing. They're trying to make sense, or they're learning at the same time. One or the other. It's like, but motherfuckers who don't stop and listen, says a lot. Says a lot. You want to talk for an hour? I could talk for an hour, but I could also listen for an hour. You know, I have that. And that's the difference. That's the difference between me and y'all. I talk and listen. Y'all just talk. And that's why I look forward to doing these interviews with people, because I'm excited to listen to what people have to say. I'm not excited to tell people what to do. That's what these motherfuckers want to interview for. They want to tell motherfuckers. They want to put motherfuckers on. They want to do all this extra shit. And it's like, no, man, I'm excited to hear a motherfucker's story. Like, if that ain't understood, if that is too deep to think about, this ain't for you. You know? Your personality trait don't mix with this situation. And that's all right. You know? That's one thing people got to recognize. It's all right. If it don't work out, it's all right. It's going to get figured out one way or another. So, but yeah, man, Kush Talks, you know, I'm really looking to integrate. You know, I got some people, you know, in mind, you know, I really fuck with, and, you know, I look forward to working with them. But I want to work with the people I want to work with when I get this thing rolling. I want people's eyes on the prize when I show it. I don't want to show the prize and there ain't no eyes. You know what I mean? Like, if a tree falls in the forest and nobody's there to hear it, does it make a sound? You know what I mean? We got to really just, you know, tap in on that. So let's support the Kush Talks. Please, man, really tap in. Really support this channel. If you fuck with me, if you like what I'm talking, you know, please comment, subscribe, like, just share it, talk to me, hit me up on Twitter. It's Kush Council, KUSHKOUNCIL at, you know what I mean? Kush Council. And like, you know, I love human interaction. I don't like going out of my way for it, but I love when people are willing to interact, and they make it well known. Like, hey, I'm ready. I want to interact. I want to get involved. I want to talk about this. I need to get this off my chest. Whatever it is, let's do it. You need to promote something. You want to just, you know what I'm saying, talk about this situation, or you want to get your story out, or you've always wanted to do these skits. Let's do it. Let's work. Let's get to it. You know what I'm saying? Because Kush Council, he's ready. My mind don't stop. I got ideas on top of ideas on top of ideas. This shit don't quit. Like, I'm always ready. And if I see that you ready, you know, I'm not going to get discouraged. I'm only going to get encouraged. You know? I don't never hide in the shine. You know, I just arrive when it's time. And I always feel like that's my calling. So I'm here. Um, so, you know, I think those are a smooth couple topics. You know, I've talked about the takeoff situation a lot. You know, for me personally, like, out of all these rappers, you know, Pop Smoke, you know, that shit hurt because he was young and I seen him blowing up and boom, just got snatched. It's like the music was getting better, the buzz was building, boom, it's done. That star that was getting brighter and brighter and brighter just instantly cut. In our universe, shit like that does not really happen. It's like on the micro level it happens, and we're on the micro level, but on the big stage, shit like that don't happen. So it's fucked up. It's crazy. It's mentally confusing. You know, that's why it takes us a while to process it, because it's not normal. You know, when we cut a steak in half and we cooked it for 10 minutes and it's medium rare, we're not surprised. You know, it's not hard to process. We're like, yep, boom, that's how it should be. When these things happen, and it's like, that wasn't supposed to happen. You know, that's too early. You know, yeah, we're not timekeepers. We're not God. We can't say what is supposed to and not supposed to happen. I understand all that. But what I'm saying is like, damn, you know, it just sucks. It hurts to see shit like that. So like the Pop Smoke, but then Young Dolph, you know, like that was my guy. Like that's like my uncle type shit. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like I looked up to Dolph, you know. I just liked how he went about his shit. Like it was just, you know, on his own, took his own path, and you know, I fuck with that so heavy, and just how he rapped, it was just like, it just like soul food. You know what I mean? It ain't overthought. It's fucking chicken, mashed potato, collard green, mac and cheese. It ain't no complicated recipe. It's some good shit. You know what I'm saying? It's simple and it's good and it's to the fucking point. Ain't no bullshit. It ain't trying to, you know what I'm saying, mix you up. It ain't trying to make you look this way and do some shit while you looking, you know, it ain't none of that. It's straight to the point, real shit, and that shit hurt. And I know the streets is crazy. I already know about all that. I know, hey, and seeing all the people that got arrested from the Dolph case, you know, and it's like, yeah, these motherfuckers hated him because he was doing good. And, you know what I'm saying? It just is what it is. Some people can't handle it. You know? Some people want to tear you down. And it's whatever, but the takeoff thing was an accident. But when it compounds with other things, it just gets to a point where the lines gotta be drawn. Like, what do we do? You know, how do we avoid these incidents? We have to communicate. Gotta put our egos aside. We know the answer, but that's the thing about the human race, man. We're unpredictable. We are not. We will be in the same situation and do a different thing each time. Because it's what our brain is telling us to do. Our brain has so many capabilities. There's so many capabilities, so many options. You know, like when you got so many capabilities, are you gonna do the same thing every time? Of course not. You're gonna do different things. You know, if you got a bunch of clothes, are you gonna wear the same thing every time? You might, because you might you might find that comfort level, but you normally are gonna switch it up, look cool, you know, do your thing. But you know, we're all different, so there is people that are going to fulfill that lane of doing the same thing and being predictable, because that's not predictable. Sometimes being predictable isn't predictable. You know what I'm saying? So humans are always going to fill every box. They're going to do the unpredictable, which is predictable. And then they're going to do the things that are predictable, which is unpredictable because you don't expect it. So how about it? How about it, man? But I think that about covers it for this week. I really enjoyed it. Nice little Kush talk. Nice little episode 1. You know, I really just want to expound on just things I have in my head, thoughts, and I want to put them out there, and let's talk. You know, let's tap in. Even if we're not in the same city, you know, we could call on Skype or whatever and screen record. You know, there's options. So I look forward to speaking with everybody and, you know, getting to know everybody. And I hope you guys enjoyed this week of Kush Talk. And, you know, I'll see you in the next episode.